And then forward, a 6'8" junior from Humboldt, California, number 4, Adom Jacko. The Lions are led by head coach Mike Pella, assisted by John Peterson, Patrick Samuel, and Adom Jacko.
It's not 20,000 hearts at the same time. The human heart beats 100,000 times a day. That's almost 37 million beats a year. It's the strongest muscle in the body. It never takes a break, never goes on vacation, it never clocks out. Day in and day out, it pumps the blood and keeps you alive. Unless you experience trauma. You kind of lean back in a chair, more on lying, off balance, hand in the face, behind one point on your feet, holding your breath, write about it in your journal, take a photo, it'll last longer. Downtown, Charlie Brown.
For you the Thursday night showcase from the Marriott Center, along with Corey Williams, Roxy Bernson with you, Loyola Marymount, and BYU. The Cougars at 5-3 in WCC play, LMU at 3-6. And these two teams meeting for the second time in the span of a week. Last Thursday night they played in LA, and BYU came away with a 91-80 win over Loyola Marymount. Navy blue for the Lions, home whites for the Cougars at BYU. Here's David Humphreys, reigning West Coast Conference Player of the Week. Adom Jacko with a bucket for the Lions.
No.
Here's Chase Fisher for the Cougars, the senior, the transfer from Wake Forest. And a three is too strong. And the long rebound falls to Shamar Johnson. And LMU.
Very interesting to see how LMU handles the boards. They are a little bit small inside tonight. They're only 6'7", 6'8" across that front line. And BYU likes to put up a lot of outside jumpers. They definitely have to rebound defensively if they're going to be in this game.
Adom Jacko. Shot clock rolling down on the Lions. Brandon Brown, the pull-up. And it's 4-0 LMU.
That's what you need in a situation like that. A little playground basketball. Brandon Brown taking it upon himself. Nice move with the fadeaway jumper.
About 90 seconds in is Kyle Collinsworth to the basket. And he draws a foul. LMU foul is on Stephen Haney, his first. And Kyle Collinsworth to the line. Collinsworth, who's third in the country in assists. He averages over 7 a game. Along with 15 points, 8 rebounds a contest for Collinsworth, with just a 67% foul shooting. And Collinsworth, of course, an NCAA record 10 career triple-doubles.
And Roxy, what I really like about his game, he's always in attack mode, and good things happen when you attack the rim. That's how he gets his assists, that's how he gets his free throws. He's constantly putting pressure on the defense.
And he missed both. David Humphries for Loyola Marymount. And a reach-in foul, it's on Kyle Collinsworth of BYU. And his first foul is Dave Rose in his 11th year at BYU. Best winning percentage in BYU history, a 740 win percentage. And Dave Rose has won at least 20 games and been to the postseason each of his first 10 years with BYU. Adom Jacko to the basket, and Adom Jacko the throwdown.
I need that poster. Oh my goodness. Adom Jacko making a statement here early.
The junior from Upland, California. Open 3 for Nick Emery. And the offensive rebound, there's Collinsworth inside. Has it stripped. And Stephen Haney comes away with it. Here come the Lions. The lob, Jacko to finish. What a start for Loyola Marymount. And Adom Jacko.
The Lions have brought the intensity.
They brought the roar, Corey.
It is quiet here in Marriott. Take flight, young man, as he puts the hammer down. Could have been an and one. And on this one, this isn't the best pass in the world, but Jacko goes up to the square and drops it home. And LMU looking very impressive in the first couple of minutes of play.
So the reigning West Coast Conference Player of the Week, who had a career high 26 against BYU last Thursday in LA, with 6 of LMU's 8 to start this one. That's Jacko 9th in the West Coast Conference in scoring, and last week he put up 24.5 points per game at 26 against BYU and 23 in a win Saturday against San Diego.
And nothing gets you off to a good start. Couple of nice dunks, take the crowd out of the game, get your teammates fired up.
Kyle Davis breaks the seal for BYU. Stripped and stolen by Nick Emery. Emery goes behind the back. And then David Humphries breaks it up out of bounds. It stays with the Cougars.
Roxy, we're looking at 2 teams that love to get out and run. BYU, everybody knows about their tempo, their outside shooting, but LMU not afraid to run and play up-tempo basketball.
Chase Fisher thought about it. 91-80, BYU beat Loyola Marymount. Last Thursday night, so playing for the second time in about the span of a week. Open 3, Chase Fisher buries it.
You see early, LMU is going to double down on the post to make up for the size disadvantage, but BYU's got some of the best shooters in the WCC.
Not just the WCC, but the country, as they shoot 38% from downtown. Of course, St. Mary's the best field goal shooting team in the country. David Humphries from deep. And the rebound, Nate Austin. Here come the Cougars. Collinsworth. Chase Fisher drives. And they're getting the foul on Shamar Johnson of Loyola Marymount. His first, team second. Johnson, the junior from Pensacola, Florida, with the foul, is Zach Selius in the game. As BYU looking to go small, they pull out the 6'11" Nate Austin. Emery off the inbound and rattles out. The rebound cleared by Shamar Johnson for the Lions. Nice pass by Humphries, and Johnson can't finish. Zach Selius the rebound. BYU runs. That's the one thing about the Cougars. They're so tough in transition because they run to the three-point line. They can all knock it down.
Right, they create that space where you have to make a decision.
Collinsworth can't get the tip. And it's David Humphries the rebound.
You've got to make a decision to guard the paint, but don't forget about the shooters. Like you mentioned, they space the floor as well as anybody.
It's almost like everything you were taught to go back and defend inside out, you need to forget when you play BYU.
Absolutely. All they need is a good, clean look.
And a good, clean look for Stephen Haney of Loyola Marymount.
Talking to Coach Dunlap this morning, what he really wanted out of his team was a solid start. He said he wasn't afraid to run with the Lions, or with the Cougars, but didn't want to see his team get blitzed early.
And I think he has to be happy with the start LMU has come up with here in Provo tonight.
Absolutely, got a couple of inside baskets, a couple of outside, good balanced attack. Most importantly, keeping the crowd out, because you know the Marriott Center can really get it rocking.
Brandon Brown off on the three, the rebound. Knocked free, David Humphries for the Lions, lost it. Here comes James Fisher. Fisher a 2-on-1 with Kyle Davis. Timeout, Loyola Marymount. And a 30 taken by Mike Dunlap, but Adom Jacko with an impact to get this game started for the Lions.
Adom Jacko taking flight. Cougars standing around looking like sky caps. That's not going to get it done. Big time dunk here at WCC.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram, and Angry Orchard Hard Cider. Explore the orchard.
Empty possession for San Diego. Jacko slams it. Well, the other night, San Diego got...
Well, a good start for Loyola Marymount on the road at BYU. 10-7, the Lions lead it behind the outstanding play early of Adom Jacko, the reigning West Coast Conference Player of the Week, along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams, Roxy Bernstein with you, and Adom Jacko here in the first, 5 minutes, Corey, already putting together a highlight film.
Basically making a statement. He's a nice young man, had a chance to meet him earlier today, but extremely disrespectful on the court. This young man is a high flyer, and all he does is finish strong at the rim. When he gets the ball, you've got two decisions. Get out of the way or get dunked on. He's extremely athletic, strong. His teammates do a great job of spreading the ball around. And what can you say about a guy who just takes fight and plays strong? And he started off the game tonight making two great statement plays. Right there, weak side helps a little bit late, so you end up in a poster. And this one, a nice long cross-court pass that he sends home. That's got to feel good for a guard when you got a big man that can finish like that.
The Lions 5 of 8 from the floor to start the game. BYU just 3 of 9, and it's a 3-point lead for the Lions, who scored the first 8 points of the night. Zone look now from BYU. Aaron Mornar is in, a 6A senior from Croatia for Loyola Marymount, as is Muniz Tutu. Deep three. And That's challenged, and Stephen Haney misses, and a foul inside, and it's against BYU. Fouls on Chase Fisher. And did they count the basket? Yes, they did. So an and one for Marin Mornar.
And those are so hard as a defender. No one's expecting the shot to miss that poorly. Bounces right off the backboard. Nobody boxes out. Easy and one opportunity.
Mornar, a 57% foul shooter, the senior. And it's a 6-point lead for the Lions. The scramble plays are so tough. A situation like that, and an and one for LMU. Boy is in as well for Loyola Marymount. As Chase Fisher has a shot blocked by Boy Touch. And here comes Munis Tutu. And the foul, it's on Nick Emery of BYU. And this is what Dave Rose was afraid of, Corey, is BYU's been on the road for 4 straight games. Coming home in that little bit of a lull here as they start this stretch of 4 straight home games tonight.
And Dave Rose, such a great teacher of the game, made the point, you can't just throw your shoes out there and expect to win. And that's the message that he's trying to deliver to the team. They've got to show up. BYU, this program, is not going to sneak up on anyone. You got to bring your A game right off the top.
Marin Mornar from deep. Nearly banked it in. Kyle Collinsworth the rebound. His second. Collinsworth to the basket. Has it stripped out of bounds by Boy Touch. And it stays with the Cougars, and the BYU fans felt that Collinsworth was fouled.
And you're starting to see the length and athleticism of Boy Touch bother Collinsworth a little bit.
They lost Emery off the inbound, and Nick Emery a 3.
Can't have those kind of mental mistakes. BYU will make you pay every time. Simple inbounds play. How do you lose Emery, a great shooter?
39% from 3 for Nick Emery. This year now, 54 threes, the most ever by a BYU freshman. It's Marin Mornar the throwdown.
Let me get into the dunk party. Mornar with the sweet lefty, the sweeping left-hand dunk. LMU is just really playing at a high level right now.
Attacking the basket. Reach in against Munis Tutu. How about this dunk from Mornar?
This is a sleeper. Nice penetration. You think he's going to lay it up, but at the last second just extends. He's got those huge hands, can palm the ball. Another dunk. BYU being challenged at the rim. The Lions in attack mode.
Jacob Hartsock is in for the Cougars, 6'8" freshman from Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And you and I got a chance to talk to Dave Rose about him at shoot-around today. And Dave Rose was saying this is a guy we need to get into the rotation because he can help us out. We want to see what he's got. Chase Fisher missing from deep, and the rebound not free by the Lions.
This time of the season, you're right, Dave Rose, it's all hands on deck. The deeper the rotation, the better the team's going to be. Getting guys out there, getting them some experience. The second half of the conference, that's going to be key.
And this 2-2, the kick. Boy Touch. Missing in the rebound. Here's Nick Emery. Emery left it behind, recovers. Hartsock from deep. Kyle Davis the offensive rebound. Davis goes inside. Adom Jacko the block shot.
Felt Jacko got away with a couple of fouls.
And a 3 missed by Stephen Haney. BYU counters back the other way. Davis by himself underneath.
LMU trying to extend a little bit of pressure, but Brigham Young very good at vision and ball movement, beat that press with no problem.
Jacko squares up, way short. Here comes Nick Emery. Emery for 3. And the rebound, Stephen Haney aggressive to the defensive glass for Loyola Marymount. Jacko has it knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Lions. It belongs to BYU trying to come back here against Loyola Marymount. Kyle Davis doing it inside.
You basically beat the pressure, get it to your big man, keep it up, and get the bucket as BYU starts to cut into that lead.
LMU 15, BYU 13, 10.5 minutes to go. First half at the Marriott Center in Provo, Utah. This West Coast Conference matchup tonight. And the LMU Lions, Corey, they're playing better as of late. They got off to a little bit of a rough start. They're 10-10, their record overall 500 on the year and 3-6 in WCC play. But they've won 3 of their last 4 games.
Yeah, this is a team that gets by off of basketball IQ. They play with a lot of heart. Despite some size disadvantages in the front line, they compete every night out. A couple of close losses, but as you can see, just by the way they started the game tonight, they are definitely better than their record would indicate.
Big turnover on the roster for Mike Dunlap from last year, his first year at LMU. Now in year 2 is 9 newcomers to this roster. And an offensive foul is called on Shamar Johnson of Loyola Marymount for an illegal screen. Second on Johnson is Mike Dunlap, who won a couple of national championships at the Division II level. Also has been a head coach in the NBA of the Charlotte Bobcats, formerly. Now, of course, the Charlotte Hornets.
I got a chance to watch them today and shoot around, and the way he connects with those young men, and like you said, the resume speaks for itself. He can reference things from the NBA, reference things from the lower college ranks, and also top programs around the country.
Open 3, Jacob Hartsock with his second three-pointer of the season. And getting an opportunity to play has cracked the rotation for Dave Rose in BYU, and he ties the game.
Playing those tough minutes coming off the bench. Back to Mike Dunlap. What he does great is he's a great communicator. A lot of different techniques. Everything they do is kind of complicated, but he does a great job of keeping their attention.
Reach and foul called against BYU. And it's on Corbin Kaufusi.
Penetration and kick, that's a staple of the BYU offense. And that's just shooting practice right there. Great pass by Emery in the knockdown.
Second foul on Emery. The foul was not on Kaufusi. So 2 fouls now on Nick Emery. Brandon Brown, 4th in the West Coast Conference in assists. Scoops into the basket, and Zach Sellius clears it for BYU. Nick Emery from the corner. 3, and BYU has their first lead.
When you get a Kyle Collinsworth pass, you already have the green light to shoot.
Bodies go crashing underneath. And here comes BYU countering. Nice pass by Zach Sellius, finds Corbin Kaufusi. Timeout, LMU.
Roxy, LMU tried to do everything they could to keep the party from starting, but a couple of turnovers and bad decisions, and BYU has kicked in the door and the party has begun. There you see Collinsworth on just a transition give and a knockdown, but then the forced shot, and guys don't get back in matchup, and this is a heartbreaker. Big man wide open under the basket. Mike Dunlap seen enough, wants to call a timeout and talk it over.
10-0 run for the Cougars, and when you play BYU, Corey, that's something you've got to be wary of, is their ability to put a run together, and their spurt ability, if you will, because that's what they could do. All of a sudden you look up, they bang a couple of threes, and it's a 10-0 run over the last 2:26.
They're a very talented team, but you're right, they're very emotional. When one guy gets a three, then it gets contagious. You've got to stop them from running away and turning this into a track meet. The teams that have had success have grinded it out, made it a half-court game.
LMU scored the first 8 points, 20-7 run by BYU.
BYU coming out in that zone, trying to change things up.
Shot clock at 5. Brandon Brown darts to the basket, and the floater is short. Zach Sellius the rebound for the Cougars. And Sellius is tied up, jump ball. Arrow points to BYU.
Not too sure about that call. Both LMU players with their hands straight up, and then the left arm gets in there a little bit. It's a quick whistle for a jump ball.
Alternating possession, so it's the Cougars' ball. Jordan Chapman in the game for BYU. Out of the double team, and Corbin Kafusi throws it away. And a turnover by the Cougars, their second. So a timeout on the floor. BYU has run off 10 straight. The Cougars up 5 on Loyola Marymount. Saturday, it's the Big 12 SEC Challenge on ESPN. We've got Player of the Year candidates Buddy Hield and #1 Oklahoma against Ben Simmons in LSU at 5 Eastern. Then at 7, number 20 Kentucky against 4th-ranked Kansas at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Then turn to the ABC for NBA Saturday primetime, presented by La Quinta. We'll have the Spurs and the Cavs. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8. The game also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Of course, Teron Liu now coaching the Cleveland Cavaliers, David Blatt.
Bye-bye. Very interesting course of events there. Very young coach, capable young coach. Be interesting to see how they stay on track for the NBA playoffs.
The lob, Adom Jacko, the flush.
That's what timeouts are for. Draw something up, get control of this game, make a statement. LMU was on their heels. Hopefully that can bring them back a little bit.
Kyle Collinsworth draws a foul. It's the second on Stephen Haney, but Adom Jacko, another highlight reel dunk.
You have to keep body contact with him. You can't let him slice to the lane. You got to get some ball pressure. Once the ball's in the air, it's a done deal. No ball pressure, good vision, and right there he puts it up where only Jacko can get to it.
Collinsworth now 0 of 3 at the line. Adom Jacko, the West Coast Conference Player of the Week. JC transfer from Chaffey Junior College. Now 0 of 4 for Kyle Collinsworth at the line.
Collinsworth is definitely their measuring stick. When he has a good game, BYU rolls. So how he starts early on is very important.
Brandon Brown can't finish, out of bounds. BYU ball.
Well, the Lions have had a couple of good penetrations, just haven't been able to convert in the lane. Those types of layups can come back to haunt you.
Collinsworth all the way to the basket. Kyle Collinsworth.
Is it the altitude here in the Marriott Center or what? But Collinsworth from the arc drops a hammer, a little poster action of his own. Do unto others, the rim rocker for and one. You got to communicate better on the press. Kyle Collinsworth, we're talking about him from the free throw line. He has come back to life in a big way.
Third foul on Shamar Johnson. 13-2 run for the Cougars. Center top 10 plays all over the place tonight.
No doubt about it.
Good steal by David Humphries for LMU. Boy, Touch missing the layup.
I just got through talking about the layups. The opportunities at the rim, when you're on the road, you have to convert those. And there you see the foul.
Foul on Boy Touch of the Lions.
A guy with triple doubles, he's gonna pass it, he's gonna pass it. No, he's not. He's gonna jam it home. You can't gamble on the assist. The fans love it here in the Marriott Center.
Only 9? Come on.
Yeah, that was a 10. If there was ever a 10, that was a 10. You saw him getting up a little bit in the pregame warm-ups, throwing a couple alley-oops, but Kyle Collinsworth, the deceptive hops.
One more for Collinsworth. He's now 3 of 7 at the line. That's BYU by 8. 15-2 run now for the Cougars. So each team has had an 8-point lead already in this game. Adom Jacko. And he's fouled. Jacko will go to the line. BYU foul, it's on Jordan Chapman. Redshirt freshman. His first. Jacko, who's a 74% foul shooter, will shoot 2. LMU, after that hot start, they're just one of their last 11 from the floor. Actually, not a shooting foul, they say, for Jacko. Nate Austin comes back in the game. 6.5 minutes to go, first half.
They've struggled a little bit. Their shooting selection has changed a lot. They've shot some forced shots in the lane with defenders around them, not the wide open looks.
Way off is David Humphries from 3. Kyle Davis to the basket. He has 8 to lead the Cougars.
And there you see a decision by Jacko to just not commit the foul. It's a very long basketball game, but LMU's going to do a much better job double teaming the post.
Kept alive by the Lions. Wave off the shot before the shot. As Adom Jacko draws the foul, the first on Nate Austin.
Well, you always defend based on the strategy, and you know you have a weak side defender. He's a little bit late, and on top of that, he's a guard, so not much help there as Davis gets the easy 2.
16 fouls, so the next one puts LMU into the box. Mismatch here. Poked away by Collinsworth. Chapman saves it from going out. Chase Fisher for BYU. Leans in, can't get the roll. Nate Austin pulls it out, falls down, travels. Fourth turnover by BYU.
Well, Dave Rose is wondering if his team is going to show up. You look at all the hustle plays around the court. There's the poke away, the save, offensive rebounds, great ball movement. They definitely are more focused than they have been in the past couple of nights out.
After that slow start, seems like this BYU team has woken up.
Well, you know, good play is contagious. When your teammates are out there making it happen, then it's your turn. Guys get caught up in that. A lot of emotion, a lot of good plays.
David Humphries stumbled, lost it. Kyle Collinsworth to Chase Fisher. Zach Sellius for 3. In and out and backhand.
Nice shot and the assist. Kyle Collinsworth, he attracts so much attention when he starts his one-on-one. Guys kind of fall asleep and then he lets the ball go for a knockdown 3.
13-point lead now for BYU. They've scored 10 straight, a 20-2 run for the Cougars.
And for the Lions, the problems are on the offensive end as they've gone cold. There's a nice knockdown 3 right there by Brandon Brown. They really needed that.
First 3 for LMU. They're now 1 of 9 from downtown. Nice pass by Zach Sellius to Kyle Davis. Jacko. Tough jump hook by Adom Jacko. He has 10.
Very good player in the low post. Got the long arms and more importantly, got the soft finesse touch.
Here's the ball movement for BYU, which Dave Rose told us, Corey, that's key. When we are in rhythm, when we're doing a lot of things good offensively, it's when we're moving the ball.
Absolutely, they've got talent at so many positions. When that ball moves around, guys get involved. They're very tough to defend. Here you see the penetration, good defensive rotation. Jacko sacrifices the body.
First on Adom Jacko. Dave Rose's team leading it by 10 after falling behind 8-0 to start the game. And BYU, pivotal for them because they're starting a stretch of 4 straight home games. And for the Cougars, 7 of their final 10 will be played here at the Marriott Center in Provo. And they're 2.5 games behind first place St. Mary's, but keep in mind, St. Mary's still has to go to Gonzaga, and they still have to come here to play BYU in Provo. Along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams, Roxy Bernstein with you, and BYU got off to a slow start, but then they kicked it into gear. Kyle Collinsworth has helped Kyle Davis getting it done inside. And this is a huge game for BYU in terms of 4 straight starting at home with tonight, and 7 out of 10 to finish the league and head into the WCC tournament.
There's a lot of basketball left to be played, and the one thing is for certain, if you have any hopes of NCAA postseason play, you need to finish in the top 3 spots in the WCC, and that's exactly what the Cougars have to get themselves back in position for.
Adom Jacko, 5 of 7 from the floor, 10 points, 4 rebounds to pace the Lions. Well, Kyle Davis with 10 to lead BYU. Both Jacko and Davis are 5 of 7 from the floor. Here with 3:06 to go in the first half. 32-22 lead for BYU, as the Cougars the highest scoring team in the WCC, and they're 15th in the country in scoring at over 83 points per game. Welcome those of you just joining us to the Marriott Center in Provo, Utah, along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams, Roxy Bernstein with you. The BYU Cougars up by 10 on Loyola Marymount, and it's three-point shooting that has fueled BYU here tonight.
They've been able to get good looks. That's pretty much their style. Hit the ball, probe out the middle of the lane, make assists, and knock down shots. And you're going to see here exactly what BYU does. They play reactionary basketball. You double the post, we'll swing it outside. We penetrate to the lane, then we find each other. Guys toeing that line, stretching the defense, but make no mistake about it. Penetration and kick, that's what BYU basketball is all about.
And for BYU, they've made 7 of their last 8 shots from the floor. And the Cougars have made 12 field goals. They've assisted on 10 of those 12. Chase Fisher at the line, a 80% foul shooter, 6th in the West Coast Conference in free throw shooting. Fisher with 4. And now give him 5. BYU is led by as many as 13. 24-7 run. For BYU, here's Kyle Collinsworth off to the basket, and he lays it in.
Good anticipation, nothing is free. The ball goes to the high post. Jacko a little bit lax, and Collinsworth there with the good hands to pick it off.
7 points, 4 assists now for Collinsworth. The zone again from the Cougars. Shot clock at 10. Adom Jacko. Tough shot. That's short from Brandon Brown. Matt Hayes in the game for Loyola Marymount. And it is a Loyola Marymount basketball.
Right now, LMU having a lot of difficulty trying to figure out that zone. BYU's playing it big, and they're picking up very high. Look at the wingspan. Guys getting their hands in the passing lane. LMU thinking a little too much. They need to get back to being aggressive and attacking the rim.
Adom Jacko spins out. Nate Austin the rebound. Kyle Davis backs down, shovels it for Nate Austin, broken up by Jeffrey McClendon. The freshman from Pasadena is Mike Dunlap going deep into his bench for the Lions, who trail it by 14.
Well, he has to go deep into the bench, try to get in at halftime. He'd love to have this in single digits, but
foul off the ball before the inbound. It's on Matt Hayes of the Lions. His first. 9th team foul, and Zach Sellius will shoot a 1-1 for Brigham Young.
Zach Sellius on shooting 1-1.
Freshman from Bountiful, Utah, misses the front end. Only his 11th free throw attempt of the year.
A lot of his free throws for Brigham Young tonight.
Brandon Brown the pull-up. And the rebound, Chase Fisher for BYU. Shot clock at 10. Here's Collinsworth. Zach Sellius from the corner, way off. And a foul going for the rebound, and it's on Kyle Davis of BYU. And the first on Davis.
Kyle can't believe that call. The ball came right to him. All he did was stick his hands out and pick it up. Officials call the over the back. Here you are, big man looking at the shot. Doesn't go in. You just kind of hold out your hand and over the back. Not too sure what else he could have done in that position, but LMU will get some free throws out of it.
17 foul, a 1-and-1 for Jeffrey McClendon. He's 9 of 14 at the line this year, the freshman from Pasadena. And the rebound, Nate Austin for BYU.
Things have really gone cold for the Lions in the last stretch. That's been the difference.
Foul on McClendon pressuring Kyle Collinsworth. And these two teams, again, they played last Thursday night in LA. And a first half that was controlled by Loyola Marymount, as Lions led by as many as 15. In fact, LMU put up 50 in the first half of that game. It was their first 50-point first half in 20 years. They hit 9 of 13 from 3 in the first half, but the second half dominated by BYU. And the Cougars pulled away for a 91-80 win at LMU.
And you know, that's all mental. Anytime you can put up 50 points in a half against a team, you obviously are on their level. But just that concentration and how they played in the second half when the game got away from them. And just now in the first half, the great start, things have kind of cooled off. You can see LMU struggling offensively, turning the ball over. Just mental mistakes are the real difference in this game.
And in that game, Kyle Collinsworth had his 10th career triple-double. 10 points, 13 rebounds, 15 assists, and a foul on Jacob Hartsock with a shot clock at 4. And the first on the freshman. And Marin Mornar will go to the line for Loyola Marymount. 18 foul, a 1 and 1 for Mornar. 24.9 left in the half. 5 points rather for the senior from Zagreb, Croatia. Went to high school in Detroit. Now a senior for LMU. Second in LMU history in block shots. One more for Marin Mornar.
Want to try to go in at the half on a high note, play solid defense, don't commit a silly foul, get a stop.
Highest scoring team in the WCC, BYU. Kyle Collinsworth, the kick. Chase Fisher from deep. Collinsworth can't get the tip. And that takes us to halftime. A couple of looks inside there for BYU after a slow start. Ready for the start of the second half in Provo, Utah. West Coast Conference action for you. Thursday night showcase from the Marriott Center in Provo, where BYU a 38-24 lead on LMU. It was a hot start for the Lions as LMU jumped out to an 8-0 lead, 15-10, but since it's been all BYU, along with former Arizona standout Corey Williams. Roxy Bernstein with you, and what turned it around for BYU?
Well, BYU found their groove. After they realized they were in a game, they started to move the ball, cause some turnovers, and get back to that inside-outside where they were able to knock down some threes, get the crowd into the game. They're a team that feeds on emotion. They were able to turn things around, but to start off, it looked like they were dead in the water as LMU came in and started to make statements. A lot of highlight reel plays, took the crowd out of the game, but then the Cougars awoke, and it was all about Kyle Collinsworth. He got the party started right here with this one, bringing the crowd to their feet, waking up his teammates, and from there, the Cougars just began to roll, knocking down the outside shot, inside, outside, and that's what's got them up now. Good team basketball, the assist, and boy, can they shoot the ball.
5 threes in the first half for BYU as they assisted on 10 of their 13 made field goals in the first half. Adom Jacko, the reigning West Coast Conference Player of the Week, with 10 to lead Loyola Marymount. Kyle Davis, 10. Kyle Collinsworth, 9 to lead BYU. And Collinsworth also with 4 assists and 3 rebounds tonight. LMU ball to start the second half. Go to Adom Jacko. Nice pass by Jacko, and Kyle Davis deflects the shot of Shamar Johnson. Underneath, and Davis is grabbed by Adom Jacko, his second foul.
Roxy, they always say you can't teach height. Now this is a guaranteed 2 points. Nice little shovel pass to the other big man, but when you're 6'10", you just put that arm out there and get a piece of the ball. Basketball's an above the rim game.
Chase Fisher, a 3 off the inbound.
Not the way you want to start the second half if you're LMU. Not cashing in on an easy 2 and then giving up a 3 to a guy like Chase Fisher.
Largest lead for the Cougars. Adom Jacko backs down. And the bank on the jump hook, not sure if he meant to bank it in, but he'll take it.
He'll tell you that he did, but a shot is always better than a turnover.
Chase Fisher, another 3. 11 now for Fisher, who's hit 2 threes in the first minute of the second half.
LMU needs to be careful. BYU's not even getting 4 or 5 seconds into the shot clock before they're getting wide open looks.
Floater in the key as Brandon Brown with the hoop for the Lions. Kyle Collinsworth drops it off to Davis. Back to Collinsworth that blows the layup. And a foul going the other way, and it's on Collinsworth. Maybe some frustration after he missed a chippy right at the rim.
He has to be smiling. He did everything but make the layup. Kyle Collinsworth, the one-man press break, gives it up, gets it back. Kind of surprised he got it back. And just blew a 2-footer. And that's very uncharacteristic of him. He's a finisher at the basket.
Second foul on Collinsworth. Aaron Mornar comes in for LMU. Adom Jacko on the baseline. 14 now for Jacko. Already with 7 20-point games this year, including each of the last 2. Career best 26 against this BYU team a week ago in LA. Picked up by the Lions. Here comes Brandon Brown. Boy touch to the basket. And boy touch and one.
Some signs of hope here with the Lions. It starts on the defensive end. They get the basketball and bring it down, applying the pressure. And sometimes it's good to just not take that outside jumper and attack the rim. And Touch with the chance to get the and one.
Touch is 70% foul shooter. Second foul on Nate Austin. Touch way off as Kyle Davis the rebound.
And Roxy, Touch's main purpose out there is full court denial on Kyle Collinsworth. He's picking him up after a rebound, after a made basket. Mike Dunlap knows Collinsworth is the key to the BYU offense.
Real athletic wing, Touch, who was recruited by West Virginia, VCU, but chose Loyola Marymount. Kyle Collinsworth down the lane. Drops it off to Kyle Davis.
Boy, Kyle Collinsworth is the gift that just keeps on giving, beats you off the dribble, but then gives it up to the open man.
And a foul out top. It's the third on Collinsworth. Three fouls on Kyle Collinsworth here.
Be interesting to see what Dave Rose does with 17 minutes remaining. I wouldn't be surprised if he subbed him out.
Aaron Mornar, a tough shot. Collinsworth the rebound. In transition, a three is too strong for Nick Emery. And the rebound, Stephen Haney, transfer from Central Florida for LMU. And a strip and a steal by Chase Fisher. Fisher leading scorer on this BYU team. Nice lob inside, and it's Collinsworth to Davis again.
Davis with great body work, seals his defender on the high side. Nobody home on the weak side help. LMU's really got to pay attention to the ball because BYU is picking them apart.
And the Cougars have opened up a 16-point lead, and it's Collinsworth feeding his friends.
Teamwork makes the dream work as the Cougars spreading it around, and they're rolling here in the Marriott Center.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by new Gillette Pro Shield with lubrication before and after the blades, shields while you shave, and Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Schick Extreme 3 Ultimate, now with more glide, better comfort. And Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
Well, BYU enjoying a 48-32 lead on LMU. Thursday night showcase on ESPN. And what's trending on the West Coast? Corey Williams, Pac-12.
Well, nobody,
right now, Joey Brackets has 8 teams in.
and it's looking like that with all the parity in the league and high RPIs. It's just everybody going at each other in the Pac-12.
St. Mary's on top of the West Coast Conference. And how about the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors? Former St. Mary's assistant, Aron Ganat, his first year in Honolulu. They're 16-2, 5-0 unbeaten in the Big West.
That is a surprise, playing some great basketball out there on the island.
Roderick Bobbitt leading that team. Back to LMU grad as an assistant to Aron Ganat, John Montgomery, a former LMU line. And a reach-in foul out top, and it's on BYU. Foul on Zach Sellius, his first. Joshua Spears in the game, the 6'7" Aussie. Sophomore from Brisbane, Australia. Zach Sellius is down out top. He's shaken up. Appears to be clutching his right shoulder. And Sellius, who is a key three-point shooter off the bench for this BYU team, appears to be a bit dinged up, heading toward the bench. As the athletic trainer for BYU checks on Zach Sellius, and the Cougars are up 48-32 on Loyola Marymount. Here's what happened to Sellius, trying to fight through a screen. As he ran into Joshua Spears there, and so Sellius taken inside to get looked at. 48-32, BYU on top of LMU. West Coast Conference action for you this Thursday night.
And now it's time for the Warriors to drive the game. All right, now it's time for the Coast to Jam. Dr. B. Joshua Dance Moves. Coast to Vita.
What makes Buddy Hield a green room guy is his shooting ability. He's a catch and shoot specialist that can knock it down from deep range. He's really improved at putting the ball on the floor and limiting his turnovers. Buddy Hield can really score. What makes Buddy Hield a green room guy is his shooting ability. He's a catch and shoot specialist that can knock it down from deep range. He's really improved at putting the ball on the floor and limiting his turnovers. Buddy Hield can really score.
The green room guys, Buddy Hield, Buddy Buckets, Ben Simmons, two Wooden Award candidates. And they'll go toe-to-toe. Part of that Big 12 SEC Challenge coming up this weekend.
Both next level talents. I love Ben Simmons' versatility. Buddy Hield dropping almost 26 points a game in one of the best conferences in the country. And he sees all kinds of defensive gimmicks and schemes, and he still manages to fill it up every night.
floor in the second half, making 5 out of 7. First points for Jordan Chapman.
When you're down double digits, you have to get stops. LMU's at a point now in this game where they can't afford to lose track of guys and let those type of plays take place.
Joshua Spears airballs from the corner. The Cougars run 3-on-1. The lob to Kyle Davis, who drops it in. 16 now for Kyle Davis, the transfer from Utah State. He began his college career at Southern Utah. And we're going back the other way. An illegal screen on Marin Mornar of Loyola Marymount. 20-point lead now for the Cougars. 8 straight for BYU. 16 assists on 19 field goals tonight for the Cougars. That's what Dave Rose, going back to what he talked about with us at shoot-around today, Corey, about BYU moving the ball. There's another example of it.
They do an excellent job of getting the ball into scoring position where the ball handler is the threat. Once the defense reacts, they give it up. Some very unselfish play.
So LMU burns their final timeout, down 54-32.
Hold on to the ball, draw a crowd, and then give it up. And the big fella knows what to do with it on the block. Just great court vision there by Emory, but when BYU is sharing the ball like that, they are very tough here in the Marriott Center.
National Signing Day coverage begins Wednesday at 8 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Coverage features 13 player announcements, including the #1 overall player, Rashawn Gary. Live reports from 15 college campuses and up to the minute class rankings. The quest for the 2016 College Football Playoff starts on Signing Day Live on ESPNU and ESPN2. Very anticipated signing day, especially for BYU with their new head coach, Kalani Sitake. Always a big event in college football. And the calendar never stops in college football. You got signing day, spring football's right around the corner.
That's the way I like it. Football year-round. Love it.
Mike Dunlap talking to Vern Harris about something here that the LMU coach is not happy about. 54-32. I think the score is another thing that Mike Dunlap's not happy about.
Certainly not happy about the score, nor the amount of open looks that BYU's been able to get.
Aaron Mornar from the corner. Fouled by Jacob Hartsock on the shot. Three shots for Mornar. Aaron Mornar to the line where he's 3 of 3 tonight. 7 points for the senior from Zagreb, Croatia. Last year was a starter. He started 22 games for LMU, but he's come off the bench this year in his senior year for Mike Dunn. Now perfect 5 of 5 at the line. Peter Herman is in for the Lions. So the hat trick for Marin Mornar.
See if the Lions can follow up that 3 points with a defensive stop and start to chip away into this lead here in the second half. Plenty of time left, but it starts on the defensive end.
Chase Fisher squares it up.
And the hits just keep coming. You cannot be a step late against Chase Fisher. He only needs a quick look and does a great job of knocking it down.
He leads the WCC with 3s made per game this year. It's a nice shot and one for Brandon Brown and the Lions.
Right here you see just ball movement, taking it right to the lane. Fisher got his arm inside. Brown with enough strength to get it to the rim. Reaching is always going to get you in trouble in college basketball. You got to keep your hands out of there.
And the and one free throw from Brandon Brown, who now has 10, and a steal off the inbound. LMU. Marin Mornar, the flush.
Mornar wants to be back in that starting lineup. 2 big-time plays. such talent. You see the big arm, the big wingspan, the big hands, and he can finish at the rim with the best of them.
Nick Emery, the lay-in. And the roll for LMU. And Adom Jacko with 16. Kyle Davis missing the layup. LMU pushes it back the other way. Drawing the foul. Brandon Brown to the line for Loyola Marymount. Aaron Mornar does it again, Corey.
But once you get this kind of height on the move, it's pretty much a wrap. There you see the pump fake, and once he gets to the elbow, it's over. He just takes off, great body control. Emery makes the smart decision to get out of the poster because that would have been an and one.
Brandon Brown, a 76% foul shooter, misses as Mornar with 12 points off the bench tonight. Brandon Brown last year was the National JC Player of the Year at Phoenix College. Averaged almost 25 points per game last year. As the second one spins out, he missed both. In fact, in his 2 years at JC, he put up over 1,600 points.
Big time numbers now at LMU.
And a foul will send Kyle Davis to the line. And the foul is on Adom Jacko of LMU, his third. And an injury update for BYU and Zach Sellius. He has a right shoulder strain with a T, and he will not return tonight. He is back on the bench, though, for BYU. Here was what happened to Zach Sellius.
Try to power through the screen, and
there he is with ice wrapped to his right shoulder. Peter Herman clears the miss from Davis. And an errant pass, and LMU with the unforced turnover. "17-point lead. BYU is led by as many as 22 tonight against an LMU team that has won 3 of their last 4 coming in. And off to a rough start in West Coast Conference play. Have rebounded the last couple of weeks. Split last weekend. They lost to BYU last Thursday at home. Then Saturday bounced back to beat San Diego. Adom Jacko the miss. Jordan Chapman clears. Here comes BYU.
And right now the story for LMU has just been the mistakes and not paying attention to details. You see an open court foul right there that really didn't need to happen. They started the game really strong, but they did not ever answer that initial run that BYU put on them in the first half. And right now, they're content to go back and forth and trade buckets, but that's not going to get them back into this game.
Just have not been able to get enough stops tonight against this prolific BYU offense.
Well, BYU does an excellent job. Whatever you take away, they go to the second or sometimes even the third option. Great discipline out of the Dave Rose team. They don't turn it over. They find the open man.
Illegal screen on Corbin Kafusi of BYU. But that's the thing about defending this BYU team, Corey, is, okay, if you do take away the first option, well, there's 3-4 other guys on the floor that can make you pay for it, and they're all threats just about offensively.
You're absolutely correct. And the second part about it is in college basketball, most defenders are okay for the first 15 seconds. It's the second half of the possession, it's late into the possession where you have to be disciplined. BYU is okay with moving the ball around until you make a mistake, and that's when they make you pay.
Kyle Davis backs down. Jordan Chapman from deep. Kyle Davis tips it out. Chase Fisher tracks it down. And a foul inside. It's against Loyola Marymount. And it's on Matt Hayes of LMU. BYU trying to get this homestand started on the right note. And the Cougars in control. BYU 60, Loyola Marymount 42. And Corey, take us inside the play with this BYU offense.
Well, defensively tonight, LMU's decided to switch everything to try to defend it, freeze it right there. Now what you're going to see out of BYU is they're going to send cutters and have people moving around the ball. Go ahead and roll it. You got to talk and communicate. Right here you see just a little loop action. Nobody's communicating, two guys on the same, and that's all you need. That split second, that breakdown ends up with an easy basket. If you're going to switch, guys have to talk and communicate.
Corbin Kaufusi at the line, and BYU 20 assists on 22 baskets tonight. They're moving the ball, they're sharing it. Kyle Collinsworth 7 assists to lead the way. Corbin Kaufusi just a 50% foul shooter on the year. The sophomore from right here in Provo is Dad Bronson, defensive line coach in the BYU football team. Or his dad Steve, I should say. His brother Bronson played both football and basketball at BYU. And Kaufusi, who started the first 11 games this year, is now off the bench in 10 of the last 11. Athletic family. Adom Jacko. And there is Kaufusi, the rebound.
And Kaufusi almost had no choice but to be an athlete, two-sport athlete at that.
Dad was the only holdover from the previous coaching staff at BYU. And Coach Kalani Sitake on the football side. Chase Fisher tries to drop it off for Bronson Kaufusi. Kept alive though by Kyle Davis. Nick Emery. And the rebound, David Humphreys for the Lions. Foul is called on Kyle Davis of BYU. His third, and Shamar Johnson will shoot a pair for Loyola Marymount.
It's been a rough night for Shamar Johnson at 6'8", trying to make things happen in the paint, trying to get post position and get open looks. And the size of BYU, the way they rotate, it's been very difficult for him to get some easy looks.
Had some foul difficulty tonight. Johnson is 64% foul shooter. As Kyle Collinsworth comes back for BYU. Now Davis gets a breather and leads the Cougars with 19 tonight. The roll for Shamar Johnson. As they played Loyola Marymount last Thursday, BYU, they played Pepperdine last Saturday and lost in Malibu. And Pepperdine comes here Saturday night, a game on ESPN2.
Be a big game for BYU. A lot of people thinking that the program, the team was a little bit shaken up with those two losses, but in a game like tonight helps establish a little rhythm, and obviously Pepperdine's going to come in here and try to repeat or recreate the way that they were able to get the win.
Won't go, but Adom Jacko will go to the line. And the foul on Corbin Kaufusi of BYU, and Jacko will shoot two. And Marty Wilson at Pepperdine's done a really good job building that program up. Stacey Davis playing really well. Lamont Murray Jr. is having an outstanding junior season. And Pepperdine will be here on Saturday night.
Well, Marty Wilson's been able to accomplish what all coaches try to set out to do, especially this point in the season, which is have some consistency. Guys showing up. You know, you talked about Stacey. He's a tremendous player, shows up every game, and when you've got consistency, you know, you've got a chance to win every game. We talked about BYU being a little bit up and down in the last week, wanted to reestablish themselves and get back to their winning ways and scoring some baskets.
Jacko nails both. Now with 18, too shy of his third consecutive 20-point game. Emery tried to bank it. And Adom Jacko the rebound. LMU, interesting couple of days. They didn't practice yesterday before the game here in Provo tonight. But they went for a long time in their shoot-around / practice earlier today. Adom Jacko.
Adom Jacko picking up where he left off. He simply cannot be contained on the block, and there's just no transition D by the Lions right there.
Timeout BYU. Corbin Kafusi with the bucket for BYU, but Adom Jacko.
One-man wrecking crew, just a simple post entry. Collinsworth thinks he has help on the baseline. Jacko with the nice spin, but it's lights out as he sends it home.
Saturday, it's the Big 12 SEC Challenge on ESPN, and we've got Wooden Award candidates Buddy Hield and #1 Oklahoma taking on Ben Simmons and LSU at 5 Eastern. Then at 7, number 20 Kentucky against 4th-ranked Kansas at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Then we turn to the NBA on ABC. NBA Saturday primetime presented by La Quinta. The Spurs and the Cavs. Our coverage begins NBA Countdown at 8. The game also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. And boy, what LMU earlier today, as we alluded to it, Corey, normally teams take about an hour for their shoot-around. BYU went about 45 minutes earlier today. Just walk through, getting shots up, just trying to get the blood flowing, getting ready for the game. LMU put in a full practice earlier today.
It was a full practice scout team, very detail-orientated.
Corbin Kafusi to slam from Kyle Collinsworth.
Not too often you see the 7-footer out front ahead of the break, but for LMU, Mike Dunlap took his team through all of their sets and talked a lot about mental focus and being prepared. And it was a long practice, but guys were dialed in, and you could see it in the way that they started the game.
5 rebounds for Collinsworth. Chase Fisher. Nick Emery. Way off left. This 2-2 pulls it out. Jacko. Swatted by Corbin Kafusi coming over. We're talking about the football, the basketball players. How about some volleyball for the Kafusi family?
Little volleyball there. Jacko thinks he has a nice one-on-one post-up, but this is what team basketball is. Kafusi comes over and takes out the trash.
In the lane, it's Stephen Haney with a bucket. Inside 8 minutes to go. Nice pass, Chapman. Kafusi one. Fourth on Adom Jacko. Corbin Kafusi, the big man off the bench for BYU.
Coming off the bench, he wastes no time getting in the party. On one end, he's out ahead of the break and sends it home. And at the other end, they go right back to him, making his presence felt in the paint. Kafusi taking over in the penetration dish. And one. And the fans love it here at the Marriott Center.
Well,
it's
that
all
deserves
tense.
a 10.
Absolutely.
Let's cheer on our contestants, Sean and Lindsay, as you count down out loud how many you made. On your mark, get set, and go.
69-50, BYU leading Loyola Marymount. And the Cougars starting a stretch, 4 straight at home and 7 out of 10 to close the regular season here at the Marriott Center. The updated standings is Pepperdine got a win tonight at San Diego. And how about USF? Rex Walters' team goes on the road and wins at Portland. And Gonzaga cruises past Santa Clara.
You mentioned that 4 straight at home. BYU has a great opportunity to push themselves a little bit higher up into those rankings. You definitely want to take care of home court.
Corbin Kafusi has scored the last 7 for the Cougars. And now it's 10 points. But for BYU, 7 out of 10 at home, including Gonzaga still comes here and St. Mary's. And St. Mary's, not only do they have to come here, but they still have to go to the kennel to deal with Mark Few and Gonzaga. Nick Emery dives for it. And Hank Collinsworth will dunk it. BYU has matched their largest lead.
And it starts with them getting in the passing lanes. They're one of those teams, if they get it, they love to go with it. Hands everywhere, contesting shots, they rebound and run.
Jeffrey McClendon pulls it out for the Lions. It's a miscommunication, and McClendon throws it away. Fisher from deep, fouled on the 3. And a second on McClendon, and a mistake that will not make Mike Dunlap happy.
Even late into the game, 30 minutes into the game, active hands, that's what coaches talk about. Get a deflection, there you see the deflection, and now it's a track meet. Off to the races, they get the ball ahead to the go-to guy, Kyle Collinsworth, for the easiest 2 he's had all night.
15 now for Fisher. Largest lead for BYU is Collinsworth in double figures. 4 Cougars in double digits tonight, led by 19 from Kyle Davis. Joshua Spears in for the Lions. But Fisher, who's had 20 or more in 7 of the last 10 games for BYU, and now has 17 here tonight. 5 of 5 of the line. 25-point lead for the Cougars. It's going to be a big showdown. They're going to be pretty fired up in here for Pepperdine on Saturday night.
Oh yeah, they're going to definitely be looking for payback, chance to get a conference win. After the big win at Gonzaga, to give it away in their eyes, to give it away at Pepperdine, they definitely want to make up for that.
Rattles in for Peter Herman, the sophomore from the Czech Republic. And also for LMU, a tough trip where they come here. They'll have to fly tomorrow to San Diego and play the Toreros in a 1 o'clock game on Saturday, and against a USD team that's going to be licking their wounds a little bit, losing tonight, and also lost a tough one at Loyola Marymount last Saturday.
It doesn't get easier for the Lions. They've got to regroup, take the positive things from this game, and try to come out and start the same way, but maintain and finish.
Chapman the rebound, then falling out of bounds, throws it away. Goes back to the Lions. Aaron Mornar. Pass underneath, and Peter Herman can't finish it. BYU runs it down the floor. Open is Hartsock. Rattles out the 3, but there's Corbin Kafusi.
The man of the hour, Kafusi, in the right place at the right time for the Cougars here in the second half, giving them the lift, keeping that distance between LMU and BYU right now. Getting some valuable minutes and some buckets off the bench.
12 off the bench for Kafusi. Here comes Kyle Collinsworth. Collinsworth to the basket. Kafusi has a trip picked up and laid in by Jordan Chapman. It's turned into a rout for the BYU Cougars. Three off the mark from Joshua Spears. The hustle by Jeffrey McClendon, who was fouled. And the way this game started, you were wondering about BYU and mentally where would they be, considering they played 4 straight road games. I know Dave Rose was concerned about it. He told both of us earlier today he was anxious to see how his team would come out tonight.
Well, they were on their heels early, and then they turned to their leader, Kyle Collinsworth, and he made some plays. And like I said, that huge dunk that he had to get going, that got the crowd into it. And that's what leadership's all about when you talk about Kyle Collinsworth. Yeah, the triple doubles, everyone makes a big deal out of that. But what he does is his court presence calms guys down, gets his teammates involved. That helped them get over that opening 6 or 7 minutes where they didn't play that well, and LMU was taking it right to them.
And once they got into a rhythm, they exploded. And 81 points with still 4.5 minutes to go for the highest scoring team in the West Coast Conference. Here is Jordan Chapman, another weapon for Dave Rose. He has 8 off the bench, which ties a career high.
Roxy, we talked about it earlier. The impressive thing is the amount of assists that BYU racks up in moving the ball around. The ball can do more damage and move faster than any player, and BYU understands that. They let the ball do the work, and they all do a great job shooting.
Inside 10 of the time. Deep three from Matt Hayes. There is Corbin Kapusi, the rebound. A 30-point lead for the Cougars. Belongs to LMU. This one all BYU as the Cougars have shot 68% here in the second half, dominating the Lions.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Samuel Adams, for the love of beer, and new Gillette Pro Shield with lubrication before and after the blades. Shields while you shave.
83-53, BYU leading Loyola Marymount, 3:45 to go. The Marriott Center in Provo. An offensive display for BYU tonight. National Signing Day coverage begins Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern on ESPNU. The coverage features 13 player announcements, including the #1 overall player, Rashawn Gary. Live reports from 15 college campuses and up-to-the-minute class rankings. The quest for the 2016 college football playoff starts on Signing Day Live on ESPNU and ESPN2. Not sure if Kalani Sitake is going to be climbing any trees or sleeping over at recruits' houses like Jim Harbaugh, but you never know. McHenry missing a 3 and a foul inside, going for the rebound. Jamal Aites, David Gwynn in the game. Foul on Jamal Aites, the transfer from UNLV. His first. What do you think about that, Harbaugh? Climbing trees, sleeping over at recruits' houses, having movie night.
When you take the job, you tell them you're going to do whatever it takes, and that's whatever it takes.
Aaron Mornar, now 7 of 7 at the line. Braden Shaw enters the game for BYU. And after a slow start, BYU, their offense going. 23 assists tonight for BYU, shooting 54% from the floor.
I was really going to say, very impressed with the way that they responded after a couple of games that weren't their best effort as they thought, but to come out, find themselves again and establish that rhythm, and here almost on track to score 90. I think they needed a game like this, given their position in the conference play. They certainly want to be in that top 3 and put themselves in a position for some postseason action. You've got to win and you've got to get back to form. You can't afford to have a bad couple of weeks in the WCC. A bad weekend maybe, but not 2 weeks in a row.
They'll go to 9-0 here at the Marriott Center this year, BYU. Big test coming up with Pepperdine on Saturday. A steal by Jeffrey McClendon, and he is fouled by Jamal Aites.
McClendon doesn't want that foul, he wants the bucket. Officials blew the whistle. Obviously there was a grab there, but man, he had the pocket picked and was on his way for a layup.
Jeffrey McClendon back to the line. Now 4 of 6 of the stripe tonight. Freshman from Pasadena. Made 3 starts this year. BYU is going to improve to 15-7, go to 6-3 in the WCC, and then they'll start the second half of conference play with Pepperdine on Saturday, while LMU, this is their 10th conference game, so technically they're starting the back 9, if you will, in the West Coast Conference. Blocked by Marin Mornar. As a physical move inside by Gavin Gwynn. And a transfer from UC Riverside will go to the line.
Bench players getting a little burn right now. Game well in hand. It's always a good thing on a team for the starters to come out, do their job. Let some players who don't get a lot of action get out there and play. But when you play for Dave Rose, you got to stick to the script. You can't just come in and freewheel it. Those guys sitting there enjoying a big win, putting in the work. And
here's the first point for Gwynn as a BYU Cougar. First point of the season for the sophomore, the transfer. David Humphreys spots up for a 3. His first points. It's been a rough night for David Humphreys, the senior from Australia, who had been a hot player coming in.
Hot player, but not open looks tonight, Roxy, for LMU. The plays that they were able to make were one-on-one plays, but just in terms of ball movement, like you see there with BYU for the wide open shot, they weren't able to create that for themselves.
Well, how do you feel about BYU here in the second half of West Coast Conference play? Can they make a push considering the way the schedule lays out for them?
They are still the team that won in the kennel in terms of at Gonzaga. So they can be that team. That's the struggle. That's what Dave Rose talks about, getting them to play at that level consistently. They certainly can make a push. With the amount of home games they have remaining, I don't want to say control their own destiny, but a lot of their season is still in their own hands.
St. Mary's coming here. Pepperdine coming here Saturday. Gonzaga still comes to Provo. So after a front half that was loaded with tough road games, as Jeffrey McClendon draws the foul. Now the schedule favors BYU in the back half, although Dave Rose wasn't really thrilled with the way the schedule laid out in terms of the unbalance.
No, he made a good point, because as the season wears on, coaches like to go get those tough road wins in the second part of the season to build character and get a rhythm established. And when you get these homestands, you don't have a chance, because everybody starts to play on the road in postseason. So the more postseason experience you can get, the better, as it prepares you for March. So I can certainly understand why he'd like some tough games on the road towards the end of the season, because everybody's trying to prepare, because like we know, March is madness.
Next Thursday night, by the way, St. Mary's comes here to Provo. Here is Jeffrey McClendon going back the other way. Over to David Humphreys, who lost the handle on it. Davin Gwynn counters for BYU. Gwynn attacks. Gwynn the bucket.
Gwynn on the move, fast ball handler, attacking the rim. So important to get a key guy, like you said earlier, some live game action where you can get up and down the floor and establish a rhythm.
A foul called on McClendon of Loyola Marymount with 29 seconds to go. And again, as teams will be building toward the Orleans Arena in the West Coast Conference Tournament in Las Vegas come early March, only 9 teams from this conference will be in Vegas. Pacific will not be there because of some sanctions, and they're not going to be eligible for postseason play this year, so it'll be a 9-team tournament instead of the 10-team tournament at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas.
That one change does affect the format, the layout. A lot of teams trying to avoid that opening round.
The 8-9 game. LMU, they'll try to regroup. They'll fall to 3-7 in conference play and fall below 500 for the season. As Jordan Chapman will just let the clock tick down. And after a sluggish start, BYU gets into a roll, and they put up 87